In this lecture, we would like to discuss about the classical dances of India. So, the classical dance in India has an unbroken tradition of over 2000 years. Two main divisions of its form are one was classical and the other one is folk dances. The criteria for being considered as classical is the style adherence to the guidelines laid down in Natyashtra, which was composed by the great ancient says Bharat around 4000 years ago, which explains the Indian art of acting. So the Sangeet Natak Academy, which is the pivotal and central organization of the Government of India, conferred classical status on 8 Indian classical dances or dance styles such as Bharatnatyam, which exclusively belong to the state of Tamil Nadu, Kathak, which exclusively prevalent in northern India, and Kathakali, which exclusively belongs to Kerala, Kuchipudi of Andhra Pradesh, Kathakali of Kerala, and Mohiniattayam of Kerala, Manipuri of Manipur, Odishi of Odisha, and Sattriya of Assam. So, we would like to discuss those classical dances of India which are recognized by the Sangeet Natak Academy and the folk dances of India vary according to the region and have no specific grammar. They fit in which with the scheme of festivals in each region. So, in that context, first we would like to discuss about the first classical dance as recognized by the Sangeet Natak Academy, and that is Bharatnatyam. It is a poetry in motion, tracing its origin into the Natyashtra written by the great sage Bharat. It is a highly traditional and stylized dance form, crystallized in the cast iron mold of Bharata's techniques. This art form vastly disallows new fangled innovations or gimmicks except in repertories and forms of presentation, emerging far back in the labyrinth twist of ancient history as information for the that Kansas 4000 before Christ is ascribed data to the Natyashastra Bharatnatyam has been memorized in grace of great dancers as by the humble fingers of renowned sculptors who have demonstrated the perfection of Bharata's techniques in the following lines of temple sculpture. Its present form was evolved by the Tanjore quartet, namely Munia Pillai and brothers, earlier variedly known as Dasi Atam and Sadar. It was practiced by Devadasis of the South Indian temples. It went into disrepute due to economic and social conditions, and it was Rukmini Devi Arundel who gave it new life and respectability. Its format consists of Alaripu, which is means in English invocation, Jatiswaram, which means note combinations, Sabdam, which means notes and lyrics, and Barnam, which means a combination of pure dance and Abhinaya. Lighter items like Padams and Javalis, which means all erotic, and finally the Thilara, which means again pure dance. On par with Rukmini Devi, there was Balasubramanyati, the queen of Bharatnatyam. So in that context of Bharatnatyam, we would like to discuss about the very instruments used in Bharatnatyam, such as Mridangam, violin, veena, flute, and tallam, and those famous dancers of the group of Bharatnatyam are Bala Saraswati, C.B. Chandrasekhar, Leela Samson, Mirananil Sarabhai, as she was the daughter of our first and father of India's space organization, Vikram Bhai Sarabhai. Padma Subramanyam, another famous dancer, belonged to Bharatnatyam. And the pioneer of Bharatnatyam, no one would forget Rukmini Devi Arundel. And she was originally an Australian native. Then one of the famous Bharatnatyam dancer was an Odia, and she is Sanjukta Panigrahi. And another great Bharatnatyam dancer was Sonali Mansingh, who was a Gujarati, but as she married an Odia IFS officer, and no one less Yamini Krishnamurti. And now we would like to discuss the second form, and that is relating to Kathak. Another recognized classical dance form, Kathak. It has its root in Katha or story, a band of storytellers who were attached to temples in North India, narrated stories from epics. Later they added mime and gesture to their recitation. The next stage in its evolution came in the 15th and 16th century AD with the popularization of the Radha Krishna legend. With the advent of the Muslim rule, it was taken out from the temples to the courts. Jaipur, Lucknow, and Banaras became the centers. While Jaipur gave predominance in pure dance with emphasis on rhythm, the Lucknow one drifted into erotics. Banaras also stuck to pure dance, but it provided for the sensuous aspect of delineating episodes from the Radha Krishna legend. The position and the very pattern taken by king of the Lucknow style was Wajat Ali Shah, who spent extravagantly on act. The place of women in Kathak was of a different order. They were known as art wallis, who adorned the courts of the Mughals. Apart from this, they were used for entertainment of the pleasure-seeking rulers and their fawning toadies. Eventually, they came to be categorized as women of easy virtue. The Kathak dance goes through a regular format, mostly concentrating on rhythm, variously called Tatkar, Paltas, Thoras, Ahmad, and Paranas. So, hereby you would like to discuss those various instruments used in Kathak. So, the prominent instruments used in the very performance of the classical dance form of Kathak is pakwas, tabla, harmonium, sarangi, and talmi. And those famous dancers of Kathak dance are Bharati Gupta, Birju Maharaj, Damayanti Joshi, Durga Das, Gopi Krishna, Kumudini Lakia, Shambhu Maharaj, Sitara Devi. And now we would like to discuss another form of classical dance, and that is Kathakali. So, Kathakali is the most refined, the most scientific and elaborately defined dance form of Kerala as it is obtained today. It is not more than 300 years old, but its roots can be traced back further past. It is a very exciting art form, demanding not only complete control of practically every fiber of attached body, but also intense sensitivity of emotion. The stories of Atal Khatu, Kathas, the verses text for a Kathakali piece are selected from epics and mythologies and are written in a highly Sanskritized verse form in Malayalam. The actor does not speak but expresses himself through highly complicated and scientifically ordained mudras and steps, closely following the text being sung from the background of the stage. The domain of Kathakali is peopled by superhumans, gods and demons and animals who are presented in a larger than life format. What strikes the spectator first and most is the splendor of the costumes, ornaments, and facial makeup, which transform the actor dancer into a type rather than a particular character. A character can be identified by the color it sports. A grin, painted face stands for nobility, honor, valor, and such higher qualities. Mythological heroes like the Pandavas, King Nala, and divine personages like Krishna and Indra wear this makeup in characters who wear the cutty makeup. The green on the face be broken by a patch of red resembling an upward twirling mustache. The makeup is symbolic of high-born anti-heroes who are demonic but worthy fuse to the heroes. Examples are characters like Duryodhana, Ravana and so on. Another character classification called Taddi or beard includes waters of red, white and black beards. Red one by vicious and savage villains like Dushasan, Bakrasura and so on, while the pious giant monkey Hanuman and black one by aboriginal humans, hunters and forest dwellers. The category called Khari or black has characters whose faces are painted in lamb black, mostly ogres like Supernakha and Hidamba, in complete contrast in Minuku, in which the face is painted in delicate fresh tones with yellow and red powder. They are the noble women, queens, princesses, mostly heroines like Damayanti, Sita and others. The vocabulary for the performer is only Hastamudra, stylized hand gestures, facial gestures, and Nritya, together with the exotic quality of the spectacle and the intricate Abhinaya system and the rhetorical text rendered in classical style to the accompaniment of drums, a Kathakali performance transport a spectator to an unworldly atmosphere. People wear gods, demons, and other super humans. So, in that context, we would like to discuss the various instruments used in the performance of Kathakali and also those eminent performers. So, the instruments used in Kathakali are Chenda, Madalam, cymbals, and Illa, Talam, and those great performers that performing Kathakali are mostly prominent artists of Kerala. And now we would like to discuss another art form of classical dance recognized by the Sangeet Natak Academy, and that is Kuchipudi. So, in case of that, we found that Kuchipudi, it is the dance drama of Andhra Pradesh. It is the corresponding style of the Bhagavat Mela Natak of Tamil Nadu, except that the emphasis is on the animation. The grammar is derived from Natyashtra. And in all other aspects, it is akin to Bharatnatyam. Tirthanarayan and Siddhendra Jogi evolved this style. Kuchalapuram in Andhra Pradesh was the originating center for this style, hence the name Kuchipudi. It was a male prerogative. In recent years, women have taken to it, but it is mostly solo dance that they perform. To this extent, the concept has been watered down. Like Kathakali, it used to be a week-long affair. Vedaratham Sattriya Narayan is the doyen of this style, and he has carved out a niche for himself in portraying the very role of the haughty, beautiful, and vainglorious Satyabhama. Bhimavati Chinna Satyam, however, is the most popular guru at the present time, belonging to this very dance form, and that is Kuchipudi. So the very instruments used in Kuchipudi are Mridangam, violin, veena, flute, and tallam. And now we would like to discuss another national recognized by the Sangeet Natak Academy is the classical dance form of Manipur, and that is Manipuri. From the 15th to 16th century, Vaishnavism came to be adopted in Manipur, and this ushered a new era in the development of this style. For Manipuri's dance has been so inexorably woven into their pattern of life. The dance form is mostly ritualistic. It has still preserved the dance drama technique, which draws heavily from the rich lore of legend and mythology. Costumes are colorful and the music has a quaint old world charm. The numbers presented are Lai, Harova, and Rasalila. The former deals with the creation of the world, and the latter deals with the creation and the matters relating to an Krishna Lila. Drums play an important part of the Punangang Cholam item. Is a must in any performance. The Kartar Cholam danced with cymbals in another exciting form. So, regarding Manipuri, we would have to discuss the very instruments used as pung and symbols, and the very eminent exponents and dancers of Manipuri classical dance are Guru Bipin, Sinha, Javeri sisters, Nana Javeri, Nirmala Mehta, and Savita Mehta. So, now we would like to discuss another classical dance form, and that is Mohiniattayam. Is here to Devadasis dance heritage like Bharatnatyam, Kuchipudi, Odishi. The word Mohini legally and literally means a maiden who exerts desire of stills the heart of the onlooker. There is the well-known story of Lord Vishnu taking on the guise of a Mohini to enthrall people, both in connection with the churning of the milk ocean and with the episode of the slaying of Bhasmasura. Thus it is thought that Vaishnava devotees gave the name of Mohiniattayam to this dance form. In format, this is similar to Bharatnatyam. The movements are graceful like Odishi, and the costumes sober and attractive. It is essentially a solo dance. The first reference to Mohiniattayam is found in Bhavya Harmala, composed by Maj Mangalam Narayan Namruti, assigned to 16th century AD. In the 19th century, Swati Trunal, the king of Westwhile Travancore, did much to encourage and stabilize this art form. It was poet Bheloti told who again revived it and gave it a status in modern times through Kerala, Kalamandamam, which he founded in 1930. Kalamandalam, Kalyani Mam, the first dance teacher of Kalamandamam, was posthumous in reconstructing the ancient art form. It is slowly trying to acquire an identity and classical status, and already it was given a classical status by the government of India under the recommendation of Sangeet Natak Academy. So, the very instruments used in Mohiniattayam are Shanda, Madalam, Simbalas, and Ilah Talam, and those famous dancers of Mohiniattayam are Kalamandalam, Kesmatabi, Kathakali, Kalamandalam, Sattriya, Bhama, Bharati Shivaji, Sunanda Naya. And now we would like to discuss another classical form of dance in India, and that is Odishi. Based on the Natyashtra and the earliest evidence we have of the existence of the art of dance in Odisha is during the 2nd century before Christ, when the Jain king Kharavela ruled himself, and he was himself an expert dancer and musician. He arranged a performance of Tandavas and Abhinaya. In the early 17th century, a class of boys known as Gotipuas came into being. They dressed as dancing girls and danced in the temples. Grace is its uniqueness, and the most important elements are the bhangis and karanas. The bhangis are the basis poses, and the karanas the basic dance units. The format consists of Bhumi, Pranam, Batu, Pallavi, and lighter items like the Astapadi ending in Moksha, approximating to the Thilana of the South Indian classical dance form. It has gained great popularity. Now it is so to the credit of Sanjukta Panigrahi to have made it acquire universal appreciation due to the very contribution of the Odishi Guru, Letkelucharan Mahapatra of Odisha, who became the doyen of Odishi dance in India, and the very instruments used in Odisha, Odishi dance form, in that classical dance form are pakwas, tabla, harmonium, flute, and cymbals, and those famous dancers Devi Prasad Das, Dhirendranath Patnaik, Indrani Rahman, Kelucharan Mahapatra, Protima Bedi, Priyambada Mahanti, Sonal Mansingh and none less than Sanjukta Panigrahi. And another important national classical dance form as recognized by the Sangeet Natak Academy is Sattriya. Nurtya emerged from the sanctum of Assam Satras in the latter half of the 19th century. Until the first half of the 19th century, this dance style was performed in a highly ritualistic manner by male dancer alone, as the Sataras had maintained certain rigid disciplines and austerities within their walls. But on November 15, 2000, the Sangeet Natak Academy recognized Sattriya Nurtya as one of the classical dance forms of India. The classical rigidity, the strict adherence to certain principles, and the non-engagement of academic research on the dance form all contributed to the recognition and acceptance of Sattriya Nurtya as one of the 8 classical dance forms of India. The core of Sattriya Nurtya has usually been mythological stories. This was an artistic way of presenting mythological teachings to the people in an accessible, immediate, and enjoyable manner. Traditionally, Sattriya Nurtya was performed only by Bokotas, male monks in monasteries as part of their daily rituals or to mark special festivals. But nowadays, in addition to the practice, Kshatriya Nurtya is also performed on stage of men by men and women who are not members of the Kshatras on themes not merely mythological, and the very instruments used in Kshatriya Nurtya form are violin, cymbalus, and drum. So, hereby we would like to conclude our valuable discussion on the classical dance forms of India and how they evolved from ancient says Bharata's written Natyashtra and which was written almost 4,000 years ago, and how the very origin of Bharata's Natyashtra contributed to the growth and evolution of Bharatnatyam, Odishi, Kathak, Kathakali or Kuchipudi Manipuri, and the Sattriya form of Assam, that almost all the very aspects of these 8 classical forms of dances recognized by the Sangeet Natak Academy that already we have discussed in detail the very form and the format associated with all these classical dance forms Besides that, also we have discussed those instruments used and those eminent dancers of these classical dance forms.